Hi Kiwi, alright, we are back at Hades 1. Today we're going to be running the aspect of Telos on the Twin Fists. The way that works is our special applies a debuff to enemies that makes them take, I think it's 30% more damage from our cast than our attack? 50%, okay. It also lets us pull enemies from really far away into attack range. We're going to take the Demeter Keepsake and go for her cast if we can. We'll take 1 level of Jury Summons, 3 levels of Extreme Measures, 1 level of Benefits Package, 2 levels of Damage Control, and Tight Deadline. Actually, let's not do damage control on this one, I think. Let's go for a level of Middle Management. That should be fine. Alright, see how this goes.
Your worst, Father.
Our goal in this build is to try and get Demeter's cast. Get Mirage Shot with the duo between Poseidon and Artemis to get double cast. And then just get as many crystal gem attacks as possible.
The frostbitten horn which you bear once overflowed. It holds a certain power still, of course. But never again shall mortal kind take it for granted.
Let's see, we did get her cast, but it's the lowest rarity we could hope for. I think that's still okay. We'll go ahead and take Crystal Beam. Basically, the way I want to play this is at all times I need to be dropping my cast, and depending on Stygian Soul to kind of, or is it Infernal Soul? I think it's Infernal Soul. Infernal Soul constantly keeping us having more. Hey, Nyx! Alright.
Greetings to you, child. How unusual that we should come in contact here. Chaos and I had quite a bit of catching up to do. Please go about your business, and I shall see you back inside the house in time. Provided you return there, of course. And thank you for this, once again.
Right. Well, that's
It was
nice.
my pleasure. Take care of each other.
And a prophecy fulfilled for that, too. Cool.
It pleases me immensely, son of Hades, to have seen the goddess Nyx again. There's a significant amount of time that has elapsed since last this happened, told sufficiently old pains, I think. Thus, it becomes a basis on which our connection may, in time, take shape again.
Nifty. Alright, let's see. We've got cast damage. I would prefer seeing cast gem, but I'm not going to complain about getting 32% more damage on our cast. So we'll go ahead and take Adult Shot. We'll take damage if we use our cast for the next couple rooms, but afterwards our cast does 32% more damage. I'm totally okay with that because, I mean, we are running the gauntlets. I don't strictly... I think I can live without my cast for a little bit. I don't usually run a cast build when I'm talking about gauntlets anyway. And I would say overall the gauntlets feel like a pretty strong weapon, especially for kind of beginners. I think they have a lot of good potential synergies that makes them very forgiving to run early on. As far as of our 3 quote-unquote melee options, although I might even argue that the spear is more of a mid-range option, all things considered. But with our damage steroid that we get from our special, I think I can handle things just fine without our cast. To begin with, the cast is pretty darn weak when we start out. So, I think, yeah, I should be fine. The real question is, what hammers am I going to take, and am I going to prioritize hammers over, say, a pomegranate or something else of that nature? Anyway, so the gods that we're looking for in this build are definitely going to be Demeter, for obvious reasons, although we've already gotten the reason that we need her for. We want Artemis to get a duo with Poseidon for Mirage Shot. And then after that, I'm not quite sure what else I'd want. Well, conveniently, there's Poseidon for us. That's awesome. All right, so that saves us having to go hunt for him later. We'll need one of his core boons to really make this work. Can't take his cast, can't, obviously, and I don't want to take his attack, because that'll push enemies away. So it'll have to be either his call, his dash. His dash actually sounds pretty decent here, because well, no, if I dash into enemies, I'm going to push them away. So I think, objectively speaking, either his call or his special are going to probably be the routes I take for his core boon that we'll accept. Where is this little mind setter? There it is. Well, let's see what we're offered.
How fares your feud against my crusty elder brother lately? Good? Big Hades, he is disagreeable with all of us, not just with you. So don't you take it personal and stick with me.
I appreciate that Poseidon also calls things crusty old. It's funny that he's referring to Hades instead of Demeter in this instance. Okay, so we are offered a pretty decent special or his call. I mean, who else would I be offered? So I know for a fact I want Artemis, I want Demeter, I want Poseidon. Those are really the big 3 that I care about in this instance. Objectively speaking, I don't want the dash because it'll push things away if I'm trying to use my attack special. I don't know how that'll interact because it might push things out as soon as we pull them in. I think as long as his call allows us to get the duo, that's probably the route I'm going to go. Because the other duos I'm not super excited, or the other calls I'm not super excited by. Let's see. Poseidon's Aid does count for one of the following. So, alright, we will take Poseidon's Aid here. Besides, it'll be funny if we just drop our cast and then just slide around all around away with the Poseidon call. Basically the big boons we want are, I already talked about Mirage Shot. The other big thing we would love to see is from Artemis her Legendary to give us extra cast gems. And then really beyond that, getting a Chaos boon that increases the number of cast gems we can hold will also be very valuable. So if we ever get given a Gate of Ixion option from the Well of Charon, we will take it every time we can, unless Artemis is offered instead. We got our first Chaos boon upgraded, so now we can use our cast again, and it should do a fair bit of damage. The idea behind this build is, since we're using Infernal Soul, we should be able to drop these casts pretty consistently and let them do work. We need more. We need as many as we can so we can just stack as many on the field as possible. Ravenous Will be pretty strong for us too if we get that from Demeter, which is the boon that makes us deal more damage and take reduced damage if we have held Bloodstones. So we're going to constantly be wanting to pop those anyway. Another Poseidon boon doesn't immediately benefit us because we just need him for Mirage Shot at this point, and unfortunately we don't have Artemis, so I'm going to take the shop here on the off chance we're offered an Artemis boon. We aren't. Now here's the thing. I can afford to take one random god here, I believe, because I know the gods that I want are Poseidon, Artemis, and Demeter. The question is there anything else that I would want that would really make our cast stronger beyond those three? I mean, rolling for a potential Artemis is cool, but it's not a high odd of finding her. Don't think we want that. Definitely want that. Yeah, Crystal Clarity is the other duo we're going for between Mirage Shot and Crystal Clarity. Those are the big things we definitely want. Is there anything else that duos with Demeter's cast that would make it interesting? I know Aphrodite has a duo, but we definitely don't want that, and I'm pretty sure it locks us out of what we truly want. Chill Afflicted Foes Shatter, that could be really strong if we get that. Blizzard Shot, no. Crystal Clarity we already talked about. Ice Wind wouldn't work. Cold Fusion I don't think we'd get to use. So no, I'm gonna roll for this, hoping it's Artemis, but accepting if it's not.
Greeting to you, Zagreus.
Oh, perfect. We got Glacial Glare. That's actually really good for us. So now our cast fires for 2.8 seconds longer and inflicts chill. That's exactly what we kind of want to see here.
That's cold.
Unfortunately, we are getting locked into Aphrodite as our next boon. I'm going to be very upset if she tries to offer us duos with Demeter. I know exactly that's going to be what happens, unfortunately. Unfortunately, the Sneak is one of the hardest bosses to make this build work with, because I can't really exactly control where it's going to pop in entirely, except when it goes for its back attack melee move.
Stay out of my way now.
Dearest, I've known many gods and goblins through the ages, and I have to say, you're quite intriguing, even for our kind.
Alright, Aphrodite, your tech, honestly not terrible here, because you would help us apply your... now we would get status privilege very consistently. Alternatively, I get the extra damage on the special because I want to be using her special. Artemis on the attack might be better, because I'm going to crit more. I don't know, actually, which was better. I guess I'll take the attack buff because it'll skill better with palms. And I think I'm going to be using the attack more overall. Although I could use the special to position enemies. I think, it literally doesn't matter. I think we'll take the special.
Heartbreak time.
Take the HP here from the darkness, and of course the ability to potentially afford things on the mirror later. But so far we haven't really been granted all of the things we want, but we're not really suffering from poor RNG. The only thing that ruins us now is if we get forced to fourth god before we see Artemis. At this point, that's the main thing we need. Just Artemis to show up and give us a lovely 4 boon so that we can potentially get her duo boon with Poseidon. Athena showing up is cool and all, but definitely can't take her here because, again, we are already at our 3 god limit. Aphrodite, at this point, her main benefit is simply the fact that she offers us
One more fish for me.
a reliable means of getting status privilege. So we will take the coin here and forsake Athena. We want a different god that starts with A. We're only seeing the A goddesses, but none of them are the A god that I want. I do need to kind of remember to use my cast, because my brain definitely works better with, I think it is Stygian Soul, the one that makes us drop all our casts all the time. Or we have multiple casts, but then we have to wait for them to drop on the floor. I'm much more consistent with that because, I mean, if once they're cast, they're cast. There's no extra thought to put into it. With this one, as soon as it's refunded or recharged, I need to take it again. I guess that is actually, I just realized there is one other one other set of boons we want to see in this run, and that is any Hermes buff that increases our reload speed, which he only has one of, I suppose, but, you know, that'll synergize very well with this build as well. I am appreciating the damage up that Aphrodite brings on her special. I think it'll make us, it'll benefit us, at least for a little bit of extra DPS it offers. Here's our shop, so here's another chance at possibly finding Artemis. We get a hammer and we get Athena. You know what, sure, I'll take the hammer.
Why not?
Attack has more range, attack does more damage consecutive, or while you attack or special, you are sturdy. I think it's going to be one of these two. These both offer pretty reasonable benefit. Long Knuckle makes us more ranged, which will synergize well with our build, I think, since we are kind of going a more long-range build. Alternatively, this does ramp up our damage on the attack pretty heftily. I think I'll do Long Knuckle, though, because we're not going to be... Our goal isn't to be Our goal is not to be attacking the same enemy for multiple punches in a row. It's to reposition and cast another cast gem when possible.
Waiting, ladies.
Well, well.
Well, well, well.
You might get through me, Trash God, but I'm going to spill your blood before you do.
Alright, let's see if we can do a no damage Electo run. Probably not. Be a cute thought if we could, though.
She's getting mad.
I mean, I don't want to play lame and just not get hit for the sake of that gimmick. As much as I don't want to get hit, it's too slow for me to tolerate. Alright, there's our damage, but here's her damage as well. This is going to feel a lot better once we get Crystal Clarity. Until then, it is... Running Crystal Beam always feels kind of rough, not going to lie. We've got good damage, though. We do have pretty solid damage. And it helps that the Aspect of Tellus does give us a nice buff on the damage that the Crystal Beam does. Like, that was a nice solid 500 damage from just keeping consistent Crystal Beams on her. And because it slows her with this new,
she won't like this.
What is it, Glacial Glare, I think was the boon we got from Demeter. It does make it very reliable in keeping her slow and easily damaged. Alright, so we're going to take the Adamant Arrowhead so for the sake of finally seeing Artemis. We'll take Prometheus Stone as like a little early taste. Now, let's save the coin. It doesn't really benefit us that much this early. Alright, but once we get Artemis into the mix, we're reasonably likely to see Mirage Shot and Crystal Clarity show up. But the fact that we're banking on 2 duo boons does make it a little bit rough for us to reliably get what we want.
Find day or whenever to get me out of here.
And what's particularly unfortunate is because we have Aphrodite in the God Pool now, there's a reasonable chance she pops up and tries to give us the alternative buff to the Crystal Beam, which is just terrible. It's just not fun to use, and it feels weak. But I suppose if there were ever a weapon to benefit from it, it would be the Gauntlet, since you want to keep your enemies close anyway, I suppose. What would be particularly interesting on this build is if there was ever a way to make it have an AoE with the Crystal Beams, which I don't believe there is. Alright, Eurydice, we will gladly take Eurydice here because she may be able to bump up the rarity on our cast.
We just finished eating. Here, got plenty left over.
Alright, so yeah, I think we take Ambrosia Delight here, although what can it hit? It can hit Glacial Glare, it can hit attack or special cast and call. Best case scenario is it hits Glacial Glare and it hits cast. Unlikely to happen, but let's roll for it. And we got it. Alright, we didn't get Glacial Glare, but honestly that's fine. We just wanted to make sure we got it on the cast, and we did get it on the cast, which is huge for us in terms of potential DPS numbers now.
Come.
We're just going to position here so that this guy pops into our cast like so. Perfect.
Come on in.
Yeah, until you get Crystal Clarity, you really do have to consider positioning when you are trying to DPS with Crystal Beam.
Simple.
It feels pretty strong for us, though. Fortunately, a single damage up only gives it an extra single hit, but that's every 0.2 seconds, so that equates to 5 damage per second. So it's actually pretty solid. Alternatively, making it last an extra whole second, I think Glacial Glare is actually better there in terms of the amount of damage it gives. And there's our Artemis on a mini-boss. So that means we should get a pretty strong core boon from her. We're going to need a whole bunch of Artemis boons for the sake of getting her legendary. So I do have to be mindful of that fact.
My favorite power couple.
Kiwi, who is your favorite power couple? I don't really have one at this point that I can think of, but I'm sure in anime and in manga there's definitely a couple I could think of if I thought long enough. It's hard to maintain that train of thought when you are currently trying not to get killed. You know? Funny that. People might find it difficult to focus when you're actively being targeted for death. I do think maybe I just go for stacking as many palm levels on the duration of Crystal Beam as possible, because that sounds hilarious.
What are we hunting this time, Zagreus? Don't tell me Wretched Dead again.
Always Wretched Dead. Okay. So her dash attack, or her dash track is decent. Pressure points is absolutely lovely, but we take the attack here. I think it'll give us the most consistent DPS up. And it sets us in line for her duos.
Time to fish.
Now we really just want Artemis to show up as much as possible, because the more she shows up...
Come on up. If I win this round, fish.
Basically, Artemis is the crux of all of the things that we want now. Her legendary, her tier 2 boons to unlock her legendary, and then the duos between Poseidon and Demeter. We need both. So, odds are we're not going to see Artemis nearly as much as I would like, but if we do, feels great. In terms of what I want first, I definitely stand to gain more from getting Crystal Clarity than any other potential boon on that list, because it makes Crystal Beam so much more consistent. But you know what, we'll take what we can get. And honestly, I mean, when you run kind of a silly gimmick build, there's only so much you can get and not complain about. And complain about. You go in expecting, at minimum, something happening.
Gods grant me strength.
Alright. We're not offered Glacial Glare, and I'm not wasting rerolls for the sake of getting Glacial Glare here, so we'll just take the 5 extra damage a second there.
Still.
We will take Keys here, because Keys will grant us more rerolls, which means more chances at getting the boons we are hunting for. Unfortunately, each reroll that we take in a given situation does increase the potential for failure in getting, it increases the number of keys that it costs to potentially get that boon, so each failure hurts just a little bit extra. We have taken a lot of damage, actually, as it turns out. Unfortunate. I'll need to be careful of that. I should use Poseidon's Call a little bit more reliably. It is good damage. Okay, Hermes. Hermes sounds like fun because, again, it'll let us reload faster, but I don't think we give up the shop on the off chance it gives us Artemis, because I think we stand more to gain from Artemis than Hermes here, and we will see more Hermes boons soon enough. Fortunately, we get Demeter here. I will buy the Palm, I will buy the Demeter boon.
Thank you, mate.
Okay, Glacial Glare now lasts 5 seconds. Hilarious. Now, Ravenous Will. Oh, Rare Crop. Okay, there's a chance Rare Crop hits the cast, which would be hilarious. It hit our attack, which isn't great, but yeah, it's still more damage. More damage with the chance to crit, so can't complain too much about that. It hit a core boon that we will use for DPS in some capacity. Is really what it boils down to.
And now, prepare to die.
Here, have a laser. Have a laser. Now we punch, bail out, and just keep tossing lasers on Lerny at all times.
There.
I wish there was like a little sound effect notification that you had a charge of your bloodstone up. It doesn't make sense because there's only so many times you can get that in one instant. Or how many runs in this game are going to be truly dedicated cast builds? So it's not necessarily beneficial to do that, and it would be cool if you could like toggle it on and off, and then people wouldn't have to complain about it so much. But it's fine. Do we strictly need it? No. Would it be nice? As long as it was toggleable? Yeah, I think so. But we'll take what we can get. I'm going to go ahead and pop Poseidon's Cast here because I think, or Call rather, because I think that would offer us a pretty reliable bit of damage with safety at the same time. See, it pops those heads pretty quickly, actually. That one's got the crystal beam on it, so we'll just focus on DPSing this one down. And there we go. Yeah, so DPS overall is not outstanding, but still pretty darn solid, I would say. And it's only going to get better. It's only going to get better. I just find it hilarious that there's a reliable way to up the duration of the cast, which just makes this even funnier. Because our goal is just to have as many casts on the field as possible.
Heads down.
Reasons why I'm taking Mirage Shot and hunting for more cast gems if I can find them. Unfortunately, we've only seen one Artemis. Once again, that was a very fast Asphodel. I think... Why don't we take Old Spiked Collar and get that maxed out here? Oh, you know what? I could have taken the Poseidon Keepsake and guaranteed a Poseidon boon. Oh well. Would have given us the best chance for Mirage Shot. Well, you know what they say, hindsight is 20/20. Oh, perfect, we can buy a Light of Ixion. We'll go ahead and afford that for sure. Now, there's a reasonable chance we're offered a hammer here. I don't care about a hammer. I kind of care about a Hermes boon, so I'll be sad to see that. If they offer us Artemis versus Chaos, then it's a real question of do I want to take that? Because that's probably the hardest choice.
Pretty good up here.
Thankfully, we are not, and a Hermes and Erebus isn't even an option yet because we're not running over 15 Fear. So we're gonna take.
I can take it.
We're gonna take the Chaos Gate here, and hope for at least one Bloodstone being offered.
This is the greatest delicacy of Olympus, Master Chaos. It's for you. I think normally it would be difficult for the Olympians to get it to you here.
You make an even greater offering to me, knowing it shall produce no material result. You are aware that I am not persuadable. Yours is a squandering of resources and time. Although, of course, we do have each of these in great supply. Now then, respond.
I just think the act of giving isn't quite the same as an exchange. I know I won't be getting any sort of other talisman or something in return, but through these offerings, I can express my thanks. That's worth it by itself.
Well said, Zagreus. Offering a gift to a chaotic being and justifying it with just thank you for your time, thank you for your support.
I see. So then the action is akin to theft. For you are getting something in return that I did not intend to give. I still have much to learn from my creations, son of Hades. So let us say that we have made an even trade. My learning for your worth.
What a weird and interesting way to kind of interpret that. Not the route I expected. Cool.
In the name of Hades.
Alright. Ooh. Oh man, you know, this is kind of funny. We never get to see Chaos offer their legendary boon. Gain 1 use of Death Defiance. But like, I don't want it. I don't want it here. I want a cast stone, so I'm re-rolling that.
Instead.
And we're still not offered it. I really should not waste more re-rolls here, so I guess we just take Flayed Lunge for the next 4 encounters. You take damage for using your special. Afterwards, your dash strike does 83% more damage. Unfortunate that we were unlucky there. I will take the key here again for the sake of getting more re-rolls. Now, we are in Elysium, where I think this build is potentially going to suffer from its greatest weaknesses, shielders. I don't believe the crystal beams penetrate shields. That said, I can easily kite enemies away to face me, so that I don't have to worry about that penalty super too badly. And again, Poseidon's Call actually is here is pretty decent. I almost used my special, but it turns out you can animation cancel that, so good to know. We are severely lacking in duo boons, and I am feeling it. We were not granted the best luck in terms of what we were hoping to find, admittedly. Nonetheless, we'll make it work. We always make it work. There's our hammer. Ooh, perfect. Okay, a Poseidon Demeter duo, or a Poseidon Demeter trial. Now, this is something that I actually discovered there's an achievement for, so I am, despite preferring dealing with Demeter's penalty, I am going to take Demeter first. And the reason for that is there is a way to get an achievement for using a god's call against them in a trial. We're going to make that happen. We'll also take Ravenous Will now because that'll give us more damage when we're using our cast.
Apparently, my crusty elder brother failed to teach you any manners if you deign to thusly spurn my offerings.
You're very committed.
I can teach you yet.
Wow, he is really committed to calling Hades crusty today. I find that amusing. Alright, now here's the thing. We need to stack up as much God Gauge as possible. Oh, what is hitting me? Oh, it was Poseidon's attack. Okay, fair enough. So, hey, I'm gonna just focus on attacking because it's probably the most reliable way to get God Gauge here. I'm ever so slightly short. Give us another enemy. Perfect. Okay, there we go. So I think that should be the achievement, right? I used their call. Oh, you know what? I bet it's their greater call. Oh, that's really hard to pull off. I think I'm gonna have to take a whole lot of damage here if I want to make that happen. Maybe I'm mistaken. I should probably double check this. Oh well. I just think it's not happening, Kiwi. Oh well. I'll double check. Maybe it is the greater call, but I'm not gonna throw the run for the sake of one achievement when I'm using a weapon in a build where I don't know if I can afford to do that. Oh well.
All right, that's quite enough. I take it you've had about enough of that, correct? Oh, pretty good. So here, why don't you run along?
Sure, Uncle, why not? Alright, we will take Razor Shoals, I think, or Sunken Treasure. Razor Shoals is fine. So now we get increased gold and... Oh wait, no, what am I saying? We do not get that. Between Aphrodite and a hammer, I will always choose a hammer in this situation because there is nothing to be gained from taking Aphrodite.
Time to fix up these fists.
Honestly, Heavy Knuckle sounds really good here because it turns our attack into a 3-hit sequence with 40 base damage, and we're gonna have a heroic tier attack in a moment. That's gonna be really strong for us. And we have the range up. There is Artemis. That Poseidon room looked tasty, but Artemis is definitely the better option here. And we're getting thin, which is great. We'll get some HP that way.
I heard there was a matter that required my attention here.
I like how happy he looks now with us. I put that crystal beam in the worst possible location, unfortunately. Just pop these crystal beams. We're gonna have to accept some losses to Than because I don't think we're killing these guys fast enough, unfortunately. At least not unless we get we have enough for our God Gauge. I can, in theory, push them out of the circle at least, or they dash away. I'm not sure which. But I think we're doing a pretty good job of maintaining our position. We still, unfortunately, have the Chaos debuff, so I can't get my damage steroid on them from using the special. But I think we're fine. I genuinely think we're fine. In fact, at this point, I don't think there's much to risk losing because we've got plenty of damage. We've got many kills on Than. The main thing is just making sure I focus down the Revenants because they're really easy to kill. This is a pretty beefy room, isn't it? Right. And I think you just get the rest of these kills, honestly. That's fine. And that's the start of that. Mirage Shot, here we are. So Mirage Shot isn't perfect. I think still Crystal Clarity would be the preferable boon, but we've got one of the 2 core duo boons that we need for this build to work.
Pleasure doing business.
And there's always the chance the shop does this, gives us a Prometheus stone, but once again, I maintain the position that might not be our best option just yet. Because we need gold, and we want to be able to afford things from the shop. I'm going to go for another palm level here, and hopefully get it on Glacial Glare again, because it doesn't seem to have diminishing returns the way most other things do. Now here is a weird observation. Oh. Okay. I thought... It looked like I canceled the animation of the attack and didn't get the penalty from Chaos. Or I canceled out this. I hit the special, but then didn't take the penalty damage by using my attack thereafter. Doesn't seem like that is actually the case. There might be a weird animation cancel that I don't fully understand, but it's not worth risking the damage just for the sake of experimentation here, I think. I mean, you know me, I'm not afraid to experiment with this sort of stuff. We're pretty safe, all things considered, especially if we ran into a Patroclus room, which I don't think we're going to do, but... On the bright side, we have definitely upped our DPS overall here, because think about it, we've got how many casts can we have out on the field at a time right now? It's 2 per cast. We get 2 per cast, and I think I can get at least 3 out on the field at once. Our record so far in this playthrough has been 10, I believe, 10 crystal beams at once.
Good enough to eat.
Excellent. Another level of Glacial Glare means another second on the field.
Better blessing.
And there's a Hermes boon. Excellent. And now we can finally use our special again, which means our damage will ramp up a fair bit. The thing about these chariots in particular that I dislike is just the simple fact that I don't really want to pull them close to me with my special, but I need to for the damage amplification, so unfortunate. We really do need Crystal Clarity though, because the as much as I love Poseidon's Call, it is a bit of an anti-synergy for these guys because it just tucks them right out of the it knocks them right out of the beams. That's if the beams can even track long enough to hit them. It feels like this really does have the potential to be something incredible. It really needs something to get it started, and we haven't quite gotten the thing that starts it yet. Well, I guess technically we have. We've gotten a bunch of things that start it, but we don't have the true final icing of the cake. The cake isn't done yet.
I come with urgent tidings, boss. Unfortunately, not addressed to you, but someone got you these.
Let's see. Fortunately, we weren't offered his reload faster, and I do think I will roll once to try and get that. Otherwise, we'll try and go for greater haste, rush delivery. Excellent. Auto reload. You regenerate cast gems faster by 2. I don't know if that means it takes 2.75 seconds or if it is by 2.75 seconds. But either way, that's exactly what we wanted to see.
Moving right along.
It doesn't feel substantially faster, but it must be, right? We'll take the coin here. The coin means potentially affording another god boon and sticks. I think it's pretty clear at this point that I'm not building around the idea of getting a Titan Blood this run, because there are more important things to want here, namely just getting a ridiculously funny gimmick build. It's probably fastest to just kite these guys into the walls, but it's funnier if I take them out with my casts. What a ridiculous, like this, all we need is Crystal Clarity. Like, sure, it would be cool if we got some other boons instead, or if we got Artemis's Legendary and such as well, rather. But I'm not going to complain too much at this point about what we get, because we really do have a lot of what we need, admittedly. Crystal Clarity is really the one thing we need to truly see this at its peak, I think, at this point. There are just going to be so many lasers at once. I wonder if it'll cause frame drops because of how crazy it'll get. It feels like it might be. Not terribly yet. I think I'm giving my computer too little credit. It has pretty good processing speed, all things considered. But there is every computer has its limit, and sometimes it's fun to test limits.
I'll just take that.
All right, some good coin, another palm or the shop. We take the shop here for the sake of potentially seeing Artemis. Oh my goodness, Aphrodite, no one wants you. Go away, you disgusting love god. Wow, that was harsh, but I am a little salty. She is taking up so much of what we want, and I want nothing to do with her. Simple as that.
Upon my faith, you'll take not one more step toward the...
Oops. Sorry, I was just so eager to pop a boldy on him that I forgot I'm supposed to let him talk. Oopsie. It would be interesting if these lasers had collision on them. I'm kind of glad they don't, mind you, but it would be interesting if they did. Look how slow Asterius is right now. Oh, that feels bad for him. Alright, so here's the thing. I just keep him on this side and focus on keeping him in the laser beams, which is actually surprisingly hard to do. I'm going to be very sad if we do not get Crystal Clarity here, though. I guess Aphrodite's duo is at least something, but it's not what I want, even close to something I want, frankly. I am trying my best to keep the special effect, the magnetized debuff on Asterius as possible, because that does ramp up our cast damage on him pretty substantially. I'm also going to use Poseidon's Call there to try and... Nah, never mind. I was hopeful that I could keep him locked into that area, but then he immediately phased, so it didn't work out quite the way I wanted. But look how slow this poor bullman is. Unfortunately, without Crystal Clarity, it is very difficult to reliably do this and, like, actually have decent DPS with this build. So we're going to be left wanting, unfortunately, pretty badly. But it is crazy how slow he is and how easy he is to kite. Speaking of which, thank you, Asterius. Thank you for cooperating there. But it's like... I just can't actually realistically hurt him. So I'm gonna switch into DPSing with my attack, unfortunately. It doesn't feel like we have reliable damage against very mobile enemies like the Minotaur. Well, so much for not losing the Death Defiance. I think we're still fine. I mean, we are objectively fine. Hades will be a lot easier to deal with this build because he does not travel nearly as fast. But if we do not get Crystal Clarity, I'm going to just have to try this run again and hopefully get something better. We'll take the Aspect of Poseidon next time and kind of run the same build, I think. Next time we run the sword, we'll take Aspect of Poseidon and try one more time for getting what we're looking for here. Because, unfortunately, the game is being super stingy with granting us a fun gimmick build. I think Theseus will be phased any second now, but my goodness, this is probably one of the slowest heroes fights I've ever had. Alright, there we go, we popped him. We're just going to spam cast on him as much as possible.
Lord Zeus, I call upon your might.
I forgot Zeus was a god in this run because I have no interest in him and his boons for this build. Alright, there we go. A very slow heroes, and I acknowledge that fact. But
hope you enjoyed the show, my good shade.
all that it takes, again, is one good crystal clarity. Just saying, between Demeter and Artemis, if one of you would like to show up here.
The finest of Elysium all failed to thwart you, eh?
Fortunately, I can't grab their keepsake and force them to show up. Thankfully, we did get the old spike collar fully leveled up, so I guess I'll take another one of our not fully leveled keepsakes. Harpy Feather Duster is very close, but I can do that in a single floor, so I'll save that for later. Why don't we take, I think, Skull Earring here, because maybe I can force myself to take some damage and then just ramp up the damage on the cast if that works that way. You know what? Here's an idea that might help us. I could get rid of Aphrodite's special. Nah, I don't think it's a good idea to do that. Next boon you find will have upgraded rarity. I don't think that increases our chances of finding legendary boons, unfortunately. I should look that up just to confirm, but I'm pretty confident it just takes the core boons that can have rarities upgraded and increases their odds, so that doesn't do anything for us in terms of legendaries or duos. I'm reasonably confident that is the case. So ultimately at this point we have like 418 gold, or obols rather. Okay, do we even see let's see, do we even see an Artemis or a Demeter here? All right, we have one chance, or we have one chance plus one reroll to get what we need here. Artemis, I'm begging you, please give us something. Your legendary is cool and all, but I don't even think I can get it right now because I've only seen Artemis twice on this run, I think. And we haven't gotten anything that we want in that regard. We've only gotten her attack, and that was only to set us up for, well, I suppose we did get Mirage Shot, so I can't be fully disingenuous about that. We did get that. But it was from Poseidon. Poseidon gave it to us. Ultimately, though, we'll take what we get, and we'll be sad if we don't get it, and it just means we'll have to set up for another run and hopefully get something a little bit better. Because didn't we ran a Guan Yu laser beam for some reason, and laser build rather, and that was surprisingly fun. It was definitely not the way I expected Guan Yu to build, honestly, but I really do want to see. I want to see something crazy happen, and it's a shame that if we do get that something crazy, it has taken this long to even have it happen, because we're basically at the end of the run now.
Not yet.
I should remember to use my keepsake. I'm going to use it here just so that I don't forget. You know what? Didn't we switch to Antos? I think it didn't save because I closed out of the room. Oops. Oh well, I guess we'll have to try Antos one more time in a different, in the next run, maybe. Sorry about that. I didn't even notice until it was too late. I guess we'll start counting casts, though. How many of these casts can I get out in one room? Because if we don't get Crystal Clarity or a good Hermes boon, although I guess we've already gotten the Hermes boon we want at this point, we're kind of already at capacity for what we need on this build. Just lack of cast gems. Just in classic fashion, Kiwi, just the simple thought process is this build could have been so much more, and unfortunately it wasn't. But that is fine. Like, each crystal beam, I guess each cast, let's see how much each cast does here. I'll just pop that here. Unfortunately, it somehow targeted the enemy that was not immediately in front of it, so let's try again. Let this guy reset. Wow, that beam lasts for a while. And the number of damage is not showing on him for some reason. Okay, never mind. Whatever. Alright, Artemis, please.
Oh, hi there, Zagreus. I was just
Thank
failing
goodness.
to persuade Lady Demeter to ease up off the snowy stretch that we've been having for a while. Some of the mortals are quite weary of it now, and it sure doesn't make the hunting any easier.
Alright, we got it. We got Crystal Clarity. Thank goodness, man.
The mortals are resourceful, Artemis. Their one redeeming quality, perhaps. They'll find a way through our long winter here. They ought to, since they brought it on themselves.
Alright, Kiwi, Crystal Clarity. Your cast is stronger and tracks fours more effectively, dealing 10% more damage.
should be able to get back through here.
This is about as good as the build can get, save for getting more cast stones, which unfortunately we have been heartily denied. I think what I will do here is let's go ahead and take some palms now.
Should come in useful.
What we're looking for is levels of glacial glare, so I will actually re-roll here.
What else is there?
Just to try and keep it on the field as long as possible. So there's another second.
The power.
And then there's another 2 seconds. Oh my goodness, Kiwi. It lasts for 9 seconds now. How many glacial glares does that give us now? That's going to be... Let's see. I don't think Hermes has anything else he can offer us in terms of improving our cast, but it doesn't hurt to try and find out. Oh, interesting. I never knew that, but it actually makes your cast look bigger too. Crystal clarity, I suppose.
What's on offer?
I could re-roll here in the hopes of getting another cast stone this way. I didn't consider that. It's only one re-roll, and I think I hold it until after Hermes. There isn't too much more that can be gained on this run, unfortunately. I could go for another Palm of Power and get Glacial Glare to last 10 seconds, or have Glacial Glare increase our cast duration by 10 seconds, which is just hilarious to me, the fact that I could even do that. But, I don't know, we'll see what we get here. The real question is, how many casts can we have on the field at one time? And I think we're going to have that question answered once we start fighting Hades. Assuming he doesn't melt in the... Assuming the ice doesn't melt him is a weird thought process we're having here now. Alright, do we see 2 chamber sticks? We do not, which is totally fine. So that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I capped at 10, unfortunately, Kiwi. Oh well, we tried. It doesn't cap per se, it's just that the first one, we spawn 2 every 2.75 seconds, I believe is how it's going to math out. Which means, unfortunately, after that period of time, they start despawning. So unless we get more levels of Glacial Glare, I think that's about as... That went poorly. I think that's about as good as we're going to get here, unfortunately. But even then, I mean, 10 lasers again, with so much more potential if we get cast gems. Oh, Kiwi. I didn't know this was an option. Okay, bad news. Your cast deals bonus damage to foes without a cast gem in them. 50% more damage.
Faster than ever.
That's wild.
Let's just go down.
Oh, that is a huge damage up for us. That is incredible. Alright, I guess let's go take the Palm Chamber next, because again, we could potentially get something fantastic out of that if we can. We do actually have 1 reroll, so there's a reasonable chance we get this on Glacial Glare. But I didn't know, I forgot, we have not actually seen either of Hermes' legendaries before, because I think they scale off of the effect on casts, with his 2 cast granting boons rather, and we rarely, if ever, take them. But when you're running a cast build and you get it, that feels fantastic. I should actually look up what the other legendary he can offer is, because I know it is... There are 2 of them, and it depends on if you have Infernal Soul or Stygian Soul. I might have to plan a course around that in the future, because that sounds really funny. Well, this build definitely didn't go the way I expected, but it also kind of did.
Something for Cerberus.
1 more Glacial Glare.
Delicious.
We got it. 9.8 second duration. That means we may be able to get 12 lasers on the field at once. Let us see.
Want something to eat, boy?
All I know is that Hades is about to get melted by a whole lot of snow. I'm excited to see the potential of this build, at the bare minimum. The real thing is, like, to make this build truly be as incredible as possible, I think what we need is legendaries from both Demeter and from Artemis. Because we get 2 more cast stones from Artemis, and Demeter, every time we get 10 chilled stacks on an enemy, they shatter for like a huge chunk of damage.
The prince compels the multi-headed hound to let him pass.
But if you consider the fact that each hit of the crystal beam does 1 stack of chilled, and it's hitting every 0.2 seconds, that means at minimum we're having 10 of these glacial glares on the field at a time. So we're applying that legendary effect every 0.2 seconds. It would melt bosses. It would be hilarious. Actually, you know what? That isn't even a legendary boon. Her legendary boon is any enemy below any chilled enemy below 10% HP dies instantly. So, you know what? Never mind. But could you imagine if we got that boon that makes chilled enemies take burst and take extra damage? It would be so funny. They would be like exploding every second, literally every second. All right, so I am only going to use my cast here.
You seek to use the power of Malthon against me. Fine.
Yeah, I am only going to use my cast and then my special to get its boost to cast damage effect, which is a 50% damage increase. So that plus bad news is pretty funny. Just keep that debuff on him, otherwise we're only using our cast here. Well, you know what? I should tag him with my attack every now and again. Or no, my special every now and again just for the weak application. But, alright, do we get to see enough casts to... Oops. I'm just going to run around and spam cast so it comes out immediately. Because I want to see if we can get... how many we can get on the field. Can we reach 12, the new record? Alright, we're at 5 right now. I think we're still too... I think it's still too slow, unfortunately. But look how fast we build up God Gauge. This is kind of wild. And it's funny that you can just sit in God form with this, or God Gauge with this. All right, let's start counting. 2. Oh nope, I got canceled out. 2, 4, 6. Oh, I got hit out of it. Nope, 6. There we go. 6, 8, 10.
I see.
Nope. I see indeed, Hades. Well said. Alright, unfortunately we're capping at 10 lasers, but we went for a gimmick build, we got our gimmick build, and I'm very happy with it. Hades is slowed out of his mind and I'm still getting hit by him, but like, look how fast our God Gauge fills up. And it's so funny because I can just do this now, and like, 660 damage a hit. And I'm still like, the lasers are tracking him the whole time, so like, I just get so much free damage here. Whoop. I definitely could dodge a little bit better. I could definitely dodge a little bit better. But like, it literally doesn't matter. Once again, we're in a build where it's just like, I can do whatever the heck I want, and he can't stop me.
Not yet.
We're just gonna laser this god down. This poor god. That's a weird phrase, isn't it?
Were it not for all my wretched kin upon Olympus, you... I cannot remain.
Alright, I see this build going off the walls with a good Poseidon build, so we're gonna try it again.
In the name of Hades.
Alright, I don't care about the attack. The attack was not the point of this build. Let's see, auto reload for sure. So we got Aspect of Talos, Bad News, Crystal Clarity. We need Mirage Shot for sure, and then not Long Knuckle. We need, where is it? Glacial Glare. We need Glacial Glare on here because it's just so funny. We had them lasting an extra 10 seconds. Where is that? Battle Shot. Why can't I find it? Am I blind? I'm definitely blind. Auto reload would be pretty funny on this too, admittedly. But I think we need to have Bad News here. So there it is, Glacial Glare. We got 8 levels on Glacial Glare for a total of 9.8 second duration increase. That's pretty funny. Okay, current best streak 35. All right, I'm happy with this run. It wasn't perfect, but I can't complain. It was a funny gimmick run, and I'm very happy with the outcome. All right, let's do our house roundup and call it an episode.
The clever-minded prince again eluded certain death, up to a certain point, but then, predictably, made one of his fatal mistakes again.
No. Not bad at all, really.
No, not bad at all. A pretty solid run, all things considered.
Welcome to the House of Hades. Glory and death.
Glory and death. Victory and life. Oh, we've got a moment for... interesting. Persephone has something she wants to talk to us about.
Hey, just how far are you able to shift anyway, Than? I never could go more than a blade's length in front of me, while you're out there skipping across the entire world, probably.
Interesting. I wonder if shifting is how he's referring to his dash.
Most of it, yes. Don't beat yourself up, though, Zagreus. It's a practice skill, but I've apparently been able to do it since birth. Mother Nyx says I was a real handful.
You imagine a child that could just fly or teleport around the room?
I can see that.
That would be rough as a parent.
I have your back, no matter what.
Well, see you around.
Here, have an ambrosia.
It's hard to think of anybody more deserving of this than you, sir. So when next you are off duty, or whenever the occasion warrants, please enjoy, all right?
This should be our bond forged with Achilles, I believe.
I suppose this must be what it's like to be a god, lad. Being shown affection such as this. And getting offerings. Are you quite sure?
Quite sure.
Oh, I'm absolutely positive. I would never have been remotely prepared for everything I've had to face if not for all your guidance. And I don't just mean the violent stuff.
Come now, lad. Admittedly, I was quite good at it, but I was nothing other than a killer. I would be wary of all my advice if I were you.
See, that's why you give such good advice right there.
Humility and self-awareness. On forged? No, we're one short. Okay. All right, well, we're almost there.
I had you there.
All right. We've matters with Olympus to resolve. They don't know I'm here, most of them, besides Zeus, maybe Athena. They think you're Nyx's son rather than mine, and that your goal is still to join them on their mountaintop.
Kiwi, we're progressing the epilogue. Whoa.
What a mess. What can we do? The gods of Olympus have all been very good to me for the most part. I don't feel great about deceiving them. They keep trying to help me escape.
What can we do? We can make peace with them, and let them know the truth. So much of it as they would tolerate. Diplomacy is not your father's strong suit, but I'm going to need you two to do exactly as I say.
Yes, Mother. So what do you intend to do, and how do I fit in?
We're going to invite all of them to a little family gathering. Here. And you shall personally deliver them their invitation, Zagreus.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so this is probably going to tie into a gameplay mechanic where we have to see each god at least once to offer the invitation. I like that. I like that a lot. It makes you have to play with all the gods.
Mother, are you serious? So we're just going to have a bash with them, and they'll just see you after all this time and be fine with everything?
They certainly shall not be fine with everything. But Hades and I will be prepared to tell them what they need to hear. Don't worry. I shall do the talking.
That's probably for the best. Something tells me Hades is not going to be very diplomatic, especially with his brothers.
What are you going
or
to say?
Demeter.
Oh, you know. That we met, fell in love, eloped, had a child. A child who, once grown, sought desperately to reconnect with his extended family. To the chagrin of his grim lord father.
That's all true. As individual statements, at least.
Fortunately, our loving and dutiful son at last persuaded his mother and father to reveal their secretive relationship and make an effort to rejoin their great family.
Your mother won't be happy that you left.
No, she will not. She is going to throw an outright tantrum.
I'll deal with her. Perhaps I'll have to visit her and the rest of them from time to time, if that's what it shall take. But I'll be back. I have no choice. Did you know that if you eat the seeds of an underworld pomegranate, then you cannot leave for 1 month out of the year per seed?
Huh. No wonder Zagreus will never be able to leave the underworld then, because we have eaten a lot of palms in our time. So I guess Persephone's just planning to eat like 3 seeds out of the year, maybe?
What? No, I never knew that.
I bet it's a lie, actually. I bet she's lying about that, but Demeter doesn't know that.
Neither do they.
How soon is this family gathering you have in mind going to take place?
Soon after you invite them all, I hope. Now go. And trust in me, all right? We have a lot to learn of trust, I think.
I know what you mean. I'll let you know when it's done.
Okay, Kiwi. We're on the route to the epilogue. We're officially on our way there. That's really exciting.
The many-headed Cerberus is busy thinking of his next savory meal.
Back soon, boy.
But first, some pets. Alright, all I'm going to say is if we are offered a sword run next, I am going to go take the Poseidon aspect and try what I just did again.
Your mother expected this most recent result of yours.
Of course. I mean, we've kind of set the precedent that I don't lose these runs anymore, admittedly.
The head chef is going to want this fish.
Taking a break from putting up with Electo out there.
That's fair. I feel like Electo would probably be exhausting as a sibling. Ooh, Titan blood for 15 keys? I will take that trade. I mean, I have 56 keys after that trade. Yeah, we'll gladly take that.
Look at what I caught, chef.
Nice bit of gems, nice bit of keys in return.
Hi.
Oh, Dusa, where are you? There you are.
You please take care of yourself, okay, Prince?
Will do.
Bye, Dusa.
I really should be back in Asphodel already. Cause of death, laughter. Well, at least you died, hopefully from a fun means. Alright, let's see our prophecy. Here we go.
Pleasure doing business with you, Fates.
The Queen's plan. The son of the God of the Dead shall someday inspire Queen Persephone to develop a plan that might settle the score between the House of Hades and Olympus. Grow closer with more Olympians so the plan can unfold. Night and darkness. The son of the God of the Dead shall make certain attempts to aid our mother Night, who through course of time has grown far apart from Chaos, her parent and origin of all things. Find a way to reunite Nyx and Chaos. Reward 4 Ambrosia.
This was the least I could do.
Then... Family reunion. Okay, good. They do give you a checklist here, which is very, very helpful for me. The son of the God of the Dead shall someday deliver Queen Persephone's personalized invitations to each Olympian so they might gather for a significant announcement. Invite all of the gods. I don't see Chaos on this list, which is a little disappointing. I wonder if Chaos will invite themselves, though, honestly, if we like, talk to them about this. Otherwise, and then we just have to report to Persephone and Hades afterwards. But Kiwi, we have officially, more or less at this point, been able to see a glimpse of what the epilogue will be. It sounds like we'll need at least to grow closer to all the other Olympians still. Or, wait, no, we can claim that. Never mind. Grow closer with more Olympians so the plan can unfold.
Took some figuring out, but so does any decent plan, I guess.
5 diamonds. All right, so it's just that. It's just that. And also we got this one. Goddess of Seasons. The son of the God of the Dead shall someday earn various boons of Demeter. Glacial Glare.
Demeter seems to have taken a shine to me.
Glacial Glare was the only one we were missing apparently, and well, apparently, well, it took a while, but we sure did. We sure did get it a very bit. What am I trying to say? We really did get it this run, didn't we? Hey, there was a bit of a chord in that one. Aye. Working on it. But I did hear some chords coming out there. We're getting better at the lyre. Really? The game wants us to run the rail again. Okay. Why don't we max out Lucifer? And this time I will not go a Super Soaker build because we've seen the Super Soaker build enough. Let's do something fun with maybe it's special, but I'll figure out how that's going to look later on.
Not yet.
With all that said, Kiwi, I hope you've enjoyed watching, and if you're awake, I hope this is helping you fall asleep. If you're asleep, I hope you're sleeping well. I love you, and I will see you in the next one.
Back in one piece.